Hey everyone, let's talk about earthquakes. And I know that word can sound scary, but today we're going to flip that script. This isn't about fear, it's about building confidence. We're going to walk through a super simple plan, step by step, to get your family ready for, well, anything.
So let me ask you something. If the ground started shaking right this second, would your family know exactly what to do? That little pause, that moment of hesitation, that's why we need a plan. Because when seconds count, knowing what to do ahead of time makes all the difference in the world.
All right, so let's do this. We're going to build this plan together. And don't worry, we'll break it all down into easy, manageable chunks. We'll turn that big, kind of overwhelming feeling into a super clear, doable guide for everyone in the family, from the little ones all the way up to the grandparents.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about everything we can get done before an earthquake ever happens. Honestly, the prep work we do now, when everything's calm, is what really makes the difference. We're going to tackle three main things: your home, your emergency kit, and your family plan.
So, let's start with your home itself. You know, it's kind of wild, but one of the biggest dangers during a quake is actually your own stuff. Seriously. Big, heavy things like bookcases, refrigerators, even your TV can turn into major hazards. The secret? You've got to anchor them to wall studs. And I mean the studs, not just the drywall. That's what stops them from tipping over and hurting someone or blocking a doorway. Oh, and here's a quick win: install latches on your kitchen cabinets. It's a simple fix that can prevent a whole mess of broken glass.
All right, next on the list, go bags. Everyone in the family should have one. Think of it as your personal emergency kit, packed and ready to grab in a hurry. It's a great idea to have your main one at home, but maybe a smaller version in your car or at the office too. The whole point is to have it handy when you need it most.
So, what do you pack in this thing? Well, let's start with the basics. You want at least 3 days worth of water and food that won't spoil. Super important, a 7-day supply of any medications you can't live without. A flashlight, a first aid kit, copies of important papers, all that good stuff. But then, you gotta customize it for your family. Got kids? Throw in some games or books. Have a baby? You'll need formula and diapers. And don't forget your furry friends, pack their food and a leash. Okay, let's get into the communication plan. This is huge, because when things get chaotic, you can get separated. So, first thing you're gonna do is pick 2 meeting spots. Meeting spot number 1 is somewhere close, like the big tree across the street for right after the shaking stops. Meeting spot number 2 should be a little farther away, maybe a local park, in case you can't get back to your house. And here's a fantastic pro tip: pick an out-of-state contact person. Why? Because local phone lines will be totally jammed, but a text or a call to another state might actually get through. That person can be like your family's central command post. All right, we've talked a lot about prep, but what do you do during the shake? In that moment, there's zero time to think. You just have to act. So this next part is all about building those life-saving reflexes.
This is the big one. Seriously, if you take away only one thing from all of this, let it be this. In almost any situation you can think of, this is the absolute best way to keep yourself safe. We need to burn this into our brains. Drop, cover, and hold on.
So let's break that down. Drop, cover, and hold on. If you can, you drop down onto your hands and knees. Then you cover your head and neck while you crawl under a sturdy desk or table, and then you hold on tight. Now, what if you use a walker or a wheelchair? The idea is exactly the same. You lock your wheels so you don't roll, you cover your head and neck with your arms, and you hold on. The goal is always the same: protect your head and make yourself a smaller target.
Okay, here's a question I hear all the time. What if it happens in the middle of the night? What do you do if you're already in bed?
The answer is surprisingly simple. Stay right where you are. Yep, stay in bed. You're actually safer there from things like broken glass on the floor. Just roll over onto your stomach, grab your pillow, and use it to cover your head and your neck. And just wait there until the shaking stops.
And what if you're in the car? It might feel like you've suddenly got 4 flat tires. The move here is to slow down, and then carefully pull over to an open spot. You want to get away from any buildings, bridges, overpasses, and especially power lines. Put the car in park, set the parking brake, and just stay put. Your car actually gives you a pretty good bubble of protection.
Okay, the shaking has stopped, the ground is still, but we're not out of the woods yet. So, what's next? Let's talk about those crucial first steps to take right after it's over.
All right, first, just take a deep breath. Now, check yourself for injuries. Then, check on everyone else around you. Then, you need to carefully look around. Are there any new dangers, like broken glass, or things that look like they're about to fall? You should only leave your spot if it's clearly unsafe, like if there's a fire or you see major damage. And listen, you have to expect aftershocks. They're almost a guarantee. So you have to stay ready to drop, cover, and hold on all over again.
Now, when you try to reach out to people, remember this little rule. Text first, call second. Text messages are sneaky. They use way less network space, so they can often slip through when a phone call just won't connect. Plus, and this is really important, it helps keep the phone lines free for the emergency responders who really need them.
So, the immediate physical danger might be over, but the emotional side of things, that can stick around for a while. So for this last part, we're going to talk about something that's just as vital as physical safety, how we recover emotionally, as individuals, as a family, and as a community.
I really want this to sink in. This idea that what you're feeling is just normal people having a normal response to an abnormal situation. Feeling anxious or stressed or just totally overwhelmed after something like this, that's not a weakness. It's the most normal reaction in the world to something absolutely terrifying. We have to give ourselves and each other permission to feel all of that.
You know, there's a really powerful tool that can help with this, and it's called Psychological First Aid, or PFA. And the coolest thing about it, you don't need a fancy degree to use it. It's just a simple way for anyone, you, me, a neighbor, to offer real compassionate support to someone right after a crisis.
It really just comes down to 3 simple things: listen, protect, and connect. That's it. Listen, and I mean really listen, without jumping in to fix things. Protect, which can be as simple as getting someone a blanket, a bottle of water, or just giving them good, clear information. And finally, connect. Help them get in touch with family, point them toward resources, and just start to rebuild that sense of normal life and community. It's all about creating that safe space so people can start to heal.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? Look, having a plan is awesome, but practicing that plan is what really cements it. It builds that muscle memory so you don't have to think. So why not make it a game? Maybe once a year you have a family earthquake drill night. You practice drop, cover, and hold on. You have a race to see who can find their go bag first. You quiz each other on the meeting spots. If you make it fun instead of scary, you build real confidence that's going to stick.
So there you have it. You've got the complete roadmap now. You know how to get ready, you know what to do when it happens, and you know how to help each other recover. The only thing left to do is to start. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the very first step, even a small one, that you're going to take today to make your family safer tomorrow?